What's the most amazing thing the human body does that people have no idea about? Here's a random one. When you shout, your brain kind of turns down your hearing so you don't deafen yourself. When a pregnant woman receives heart tissue damage, the fetus will send stem cells to repair it. Finally, this kid does something besides make me puke. Everybody else is blown away by the capacity of the brain, while I'm amazed at how the forearm can twist. You have two parallel bones, and your muscles pull them so they cross, which rotates your arm. How crazy is that? Thanks, I really needed to spend 5 minutes turning my arm over and back again. I've always thought the resilience of the human body is pretty dang incredible. Your body will fight with every ounce of its being to keep you alive. Literally, your body will digest itself to salvage nutrients for vital organs. Your cells will kill themselves if they can tell there's something wrong with them for the good of the rest of the body. And you have so many reflexes that you wouldn't even begin to understand until they actually kicked in when you go into survival mode. The instinctive drowning response. For example, every part of your body is focused on keeping your mouth above water for air. My personal favorite response is fight or flight. Normally your muscles are limited in how much power they can exert so they don't get hurt excessively during routine tasks like exercising. When your adrenaline surges, that limit is gone. Your muscles will work as hard as they possibly can without restraint, and you don't feel the pain of overexertion either. This is where we get those stories of people lifting cars off their children. Hysterical strength. What your body can do in life or death situations is pretty freaking cool. Knitting broken bones back together is neat, but it gets super cool when the body shaves the lump of knit bone down to match the contour and shape of the original. My body sucks at that bit. I've had a huge freaking lump on my arm since I was 8. I think the tonsils go underappreciated. Most times they do an awesome job of keeping harmful bacteria from finding its way into your airways and making you sick. Other times they get full of tonsil stones and so swollen that you can't eat, but your doctor won't refer you to get them removed unless you visit them with tonsil problems 10 times a year. I hate my life. The human hand is one of the most insanely fine-tuned pieces of organic machinery on the planet. It contains an absurdly dense amount of nerve cells and special nerve adjustments that make it incredibly sensitive to extremely small signals. Because of this, and the insane art that is the natural craftsmanship of our hands, the human hand has a dexterity for precision that other apes do not have, let alone the rest of the barbaric in comparison animals. And you use it to jack off and browse memes. There was an article last year that showed that the fingertips can detect features that are 10 micrometers thick. Breast milk actually changes its composition to meet the individual nutritional needs of the baby, i.e. feeding from the breast. For example, if mom is nursing a toddler, who is more prone to short little drive-by nursings, the child gets more bang for their buck and gets a full session's worth of proteins, fats and vitamins in their 1-minute flyby, the same as a 3-month-old gets in their 25-minute session. As they get older, the quantity of vitamins, fats and proteins changes as well to meet their individual needs. This is even true if mom is tandem nursing 2 babies of different ages. The milk actually customizes itself to ensure they both get exactly what they need, and the amount of milk she makes is dependent entirely on how much stimulation she gets, i.e., the more the baby nurses at the breast, the better supplied they are. This is why using bottles and pacifiers mucks up someone's supply. The baby wastes all their suckling needs somewhere else. Even cooler, the milk makes antibodies for the viruses mom and baby are exposed to and fighting off. I always thought the coolest part in particular was that before the mom even knows she or her baby are sick, her milk is already creating medicine antibodies to treat her child. It's like a built-in vaccine that is constantly being updated to fight off the latest bugs. This is the main reason why breastfed babies are better equipped to fight off both short-term illness and long-term disease, like respiratory illness, asthma, allergies, etc. And it comes in a real pretty container, too. My dentist told me once that gums heal super quickly, that when you have a cut or something in your mouth it heals faster than a cut on the skin. That's true. I have this disease where my whole body is covered with lip skin. I heal really fast like a superhero, but I have to constantly massage myself with lip balm so I don't get chapped. Your body usually kills 1 cell a day that would have turned to cancer. Usually. Fun fact, when you get a sunburn, it's not your skin cells being damaged by the sun and dying, it's your skin cells' DNA being damaged by the sun and them killing themselves so they don't turn into cancer. You can lose up to 75% of your liver and it can grow back to its full size. Kind of like how a lizard can regrow its tail, but we do it with an extremely complex organ. You can lose up to 75% of your liver. Working on it. We can outrun most animals in long distances due to our ability to cool, our efficient two-legged running, etc. Over short distances, we're boned. Next time you're being chased by a bear, make sure your shirt says no mauling before the 10th mile marker on the back. A sperm carries 37.5 megabytes of DNA info. One ejaculation transfers 15,875 gigabytes of data. Mitochondria have different DNA, which likely stems from the fact that they were once bacteria internalized by another single-cell organism, probably archaea, very early on in the evolutionary process, creating the single most important symbiotic relationship. Mitochondria are responsible for all of the energy production in your body. Look at an object on the wall across the room. Now keep looking at it while you move your head back and forth, up and down. Your eyes stay pointed at that spot. Not hard to do, is it? For that to happen, your brain needs to calculate the direction and rate of change your head is moving in 3-dimensional space and then send corresponding signals to the muscles in your eyes to exactly countermatch the rotation and speed in order to keep them pointed at that spot. And not only that, the muscles that have to be moved, and the rate at which they move, are different for each eye. Since if you turn your head quickly right, your eye contracts the muscles on the nose side to compensate, and the eye contracts the muscles on the temple side. It's an absolutely amazing, fine-tuned process involving incredible spatial calculations and microsecond signaling and adjusting that we do all the time and take completely for granted. Also, if you tilt your head to the left or right, your eyes have a limited ability to rotate along their horizontal axis to stay level with the horizon. This allows you to see things right side up even if your head isn't perfectly upright. It's hard to describe, but just get close to a mirror and watch your eyes as you tilt your head. No matter how much it gets hurt, no matter how hard you try to hurt your body will always try to fix itself. Tell that to my allergies. It's trees having sex. Better self-destruct to be safe. Our general understanding of sleep boils down to we get tired. If you mean what do we understand but most people don't realize is extraordinary, then it's our healing ability. Compared to most other higher animals, we're basically X-Men meets the Terminator. We can survive and heal from things that would outright kill most animals and can chase things for days without rest. A large piece of your genome is made up of ancient viruses that inserted themselves into your ancestors thousands of years ago and are now just sleeping. Throwing. Think about all the velocity and angle calculations you needed to do for all those projectile problems in physics, and then realize that you don't think about any of that when you nail something with a ball by simply looking at it, even if it's a moving target. Math explains the rules. It isn't itself the rules. That's why we can't throw a ball without knowing math. People have no idea how lucky we are to have bodies so finely tuned that they can fart with a reliable degree of certainty that we won't crap. Self-preservation instinct. Your body really doesn't want you to hurt yourself. I've always been amazed by how our brain pieces together information and fills in gaps. For example, have you ever looked at the clock and thought the second took a weirdly long time to change? It turns out your brain retroactively changes your memory for the period of time where your eyes are moving to whatever you see when your eyes stop. That is the coolest crap. I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but I'm still amazed about how the nervous system basically controls almost everything in the body. The way electrical signals becoming chemical signals within a fraction of a second is still freaking with my mind right now. As I type this, thousands of tiny muscle fibers in my fingers are contacting just too much for me right now. Anosognosia is a phenomenon where we become incapable of recognizing major problems. It usually happens after a stroke, which can render one side of your body paralyzed. People with anosognosia deny that they are paralyzed. When asked why they can't move their arm, they'll say, well, that's my daughter's arm. Why is your daughter's arm attached to your body? She was staying next to my bed all afternoon. It gets weirder. By squirting cold water into the ear, the denial stops. The person cannot believe they ever denied the paralysis, and then the ear warms up and they go right back into denial. What the frick? Your fingers pruning in water? That's not absorption. That's your body shifting to better grab things underwater. If that's not a superpower, I don't know what is. I encounter so many people who don't know this. We are sticky-eyeing our fingers to be more like the pads of lizard amphibian toes for increased grip. It's a nerve response and has nothing to do with water absorption changing the skin. If you have sufficient nerve damage in your fingers, hand pruning won't happen. Breastfeeding is insane. The suction of the baby's mouth to the nipple allows saliva to enter into the breast where the milk will adjust to address any issues in the baby, from passing antibodies to attack a virus or adding more water to the breast milk to address dehydration. Crazy beautiful stuff. Open and clench your hand every second. After a while, you will get tired. It will start to hurt. That's what your heart does every second of every day since you were born. My heart is so freaking swole. Physical humans are the top endurance runners of the animal kingdom. People wonder how we were somehow top predators with no claws, teeth, or extreme strength. We didn't need them. We literally ran our prey to death. The only ones capable of rivaling us are wolves and horses. If there is something our bodies are designed to do, it's run. Mental, we have computers the size of rooms that can undergo quadrillions of operations per second. Our brains still win. Our brains still win at certain tasks. I always found the following to be rather remarkable. As an electrical engineer, I often work with signals of varying types, relating to anything from communication to power and so on, in order to determine how any particular signal is unique and to determine what the desired information is contained in it, or what undesirable parts it contains. It is often necessary to perform a rather complex mathematical process called the Fourier transform. This converts a signal that varies periodically in time into a series of individual frequency components. That is, any signal that repeats or is assumed to repeat over time can be represented by an infinite number of sine waves of various amplitudes and frequencies. The collection of these frequency components is called the Fourier series. From that information, I can make sense of the signal through signal processing software and hardware, and ultimately make intelligent decisions from that information. It's all rather very complicated, and this process of gathering a signal, breaking it down into discrete frequency components, shuffling through that information, and then performing various processes on that information before either putting it back together or storing the information is all very complicated and not at all relevant to this discussion. So, why am I telling you this? The reason is because that whole process of breaking down a signal into its frequency components in order to make sense of the signal is actually done, remarkably, in our own ear. The signal, in this case oscillations in the air that push and pull on our eardrum, causing a series of tiny bones to push and pull on a membrane that moves fluid in the cochlea back and forth in the same fashion as the eardrum moves. Where it gets really interesting is that, as the fluid moves, auditory nerves that line the wall of the cochlea are stimulated based on how far into the cochlea the vibrations are able to travel. Slow-moving vibrations are detected in the lower part of the cochlea and can't actually reach the upper end. Faster moving vibrations make it further and further into the cochlea. Since the wall of the cochlea is lined with audible nerves, the nerves at any given point detect only the portion of the sound that reaches that point. This would be the frequency component that resonates at that point along the cochlea. What's amazing about this process is that your ear, quite naturally, detects and sends an audible sound, the signal, to the brain as the frequency components of that signal. In essence, the cochlea is mechanically computing the Fourier series from the audible signal that reaches the ear, and the auditory nerves are sending that information to the brain. In other words, you don't hear the signal, you hear the frequency components, and your brain is what puts it all together. We can hear our own thoughts. There's nothing inside of our brains that should let us be able to hear what we are thinking. I mean, there's nothing that would allow us to hear thoughts, and yet, we do. Do it right now. You can talk to yourself without ever opening your mouth, and you can do it instantaneously. Our brain is freaking amazing. The ability to set your own internal clock and wake up on the dot. You can simply think of the hour you'd like to wake up at, right before sleeping, and lo and behold, your eyes open at that exact time. Everything from a cellular exchange of oxygen for carbon dioxide in the alveoli sacs to being able to think and react and move the giant sack of meat that is our body with the 3-pound mass in our skulls. The human body amazes me. We're neurons piloting a meat mech. The average male produces enough sperm in a week to impregnate every woman on earth, including your mom. You've been visited by the toothpaste man for good teeth and fresh breath. Comment oh fresh. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check out another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.